we do tend to focus, I'm not saying I mean, this is a generalization, but people can focus on God's love and ignore his holiness or his grace and ignore his justice. And I think that is a danger. And obviously there's another danger of focusing on his justice, not on his grace, on his holiness, not on his love. And the solution is just to preach the Bible. Preach what's in the Bible, preach the God of the Bible, and you'll preach expositionally and go through a book. You will not be able to avoid any of God's attributes if you preach from the Bible, or it'll be harder to, because you'll be reading a passage about God's holiness. You kind of have to preach on it, and that goes for pastors. It goes for Christians. That's one point. Preach the Bible. The other way to avoid that is to preach the gospel itself. Think about the gospel combines the most, maybe honestly, the most significant aspects of God's attributes, but the gospel is God's supreme display of his justice and his grace, right? Because only, a holy God demands payment for our sin, and sin deserves death. But then because he was loving, God took that punishment on himself and his son so that we could be forgiven. So if you are rooted in the gospel, you will not be able to avoid God's justice or his mercy if you keep centered and grounded in the gospel. Spurgeon used to say, I preach the 3 R's: ruin, redemption, and regeneration. And I think if we do that too, we talk about how man is corrupted and fallen and rebellious, but God in his mercy sent Jesus to rescue rebellious human beings so that we could be made new creatures. Again, you've got all of God's attributes in those 3 R's.